Get all excited, go tell everybody that Jesus Christ is King. Wake up, wake up. It's the third degree. What's going on, peoples? Are you alive? Are you awake? What is going on with everybody in the world today? How are we doing? Third degree. I know it's been a minute. So many things going on, but we're back and live and in charge. And now we have crossed over 50,000 followers on Instagram. Thanks to everybody that's decided to follow me. Hold on, don't leave. Tell somebody, hey, come follow PA. I got some stuff to share. It's gonna be cool. And you don't wanna miss today's show. You don't wanna miss this particular moment of us talking together. I'm super excited about it. And I'm trying to talk to both cameras at the same time. Hey, Facebook Live, Instagram, and everybody that's watching whatever podcast, welcome. Glad you're here to the show. How I even started talking about relationships, marriage, family, how to find somebody, how to be found, how to keep somebody, how to stay with someone. It started almost accidentally years ago when I started World Overcomers back in 2006. And I did this series. Really, I started talking about a message called The Nitty and the Gritty. And I said, I'm going to take one Sunday and talk about the real of relationships. And people came from everywhere for that Sunday. It made me do a series called Sex in the Summer. And the rest is history. Books I've written, stuff I've done on relationships. I'm sure that there are people that may look or listen to me or hear me and think I've always talked about relationships. But that's not the case. When I was younger, I never really talked about relationships. I really waited until I was married, at least 25 years before I wrote my marriage book. And I have a passion for relationships, and I'm determined to help save relationships. And it's just a sad state of affairs today when either folk aren't in a relationship or folk can't keep it, folk can't stay. I don't know about you, but I'm at a point where when I see somebody that I haven't seen in a while, the first thing I do is look at their hand to see if they're still married. Do they still have that ring on their finger? I went to the dentist the other day, get my teeth cleaned, and a dental hygienist, and really great woman, been cleaning my teeth for the last 10 years. Tiffany, shout out. And I looked at her hand to see, was there a ring still on her finger? You know, because I ain't been to get my teeth cleaned in a year. It's amazing how time flies. And if you haven't, get your teeth cleaned. It is just something important to do, especially if you're a dude. You want to be able to smile. You want to be able to say, hey, what's going on, girl? And she not have to back up. Everybody needs to check their breath. And if nothing else, you can rinse every day with peroxide. You can go down to CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, Target. Get yourself a bottle of peroxide for 98 cents. If you just swish that around your mouth every day, just every day, after you brush, before you brush, instead of brushing, I mean, you need to brush, but at least just swish peroxide around in your mouth. Don't drink it, don't swallow it, but just swish it around in your mouth for 5 minutes, not 5 minutes, but for 30 seconds. I counted 30 seconds and spit it. If you do that every day, it'll burn up halitosis. It'll get down into the nooks and crannies. It will help your breath. And I can't tell you how many times people come up to me after service or see me somewhere and they're, hi, Pastor Ed. And I'm just like, whoa, hallelujah. I'm back off of the halitosis anointing. So gentlemen, get your teeth cleaned. But anyway, I was there to get my teeth cleaned. I checked her hand out. I saw the ring there. I said to her, still got your man? She said, I still got my man. Because people can't keep their man, especially black women. Such a hard time for you to keep your man. It's a horrible thing for all of my sisters and daughters out there. How do you get a man? How do you keep a man? Good God. And so really today, this show, and I know a lot of times the third degree it becomes about relationships a lot. I don't necessarily want it to be a relationship show. And I really am starting to get into the whole talk show genre and doing more and more talk, and a lot of interesting things happening with me when it comes to talk and TV, so keep me in prayer. And so I want to talk about a whole lot of different things, but a lot of times on this show, I do end up talking about relationships, answering relationship questions. And so today, the third degree is going to be dedicated to kind of talking about some relationship stuff. And so listen, let somebody know. Give me some claps, give me some hearts. Let me know, all right? Andy, we with you. PA, we got it, okay? We want to hear some great stuff. We want to talk about relationships, and we're going to jump right into it and get down to it. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to pop some questions. And listen, if you're a college student, let me just, before I start answering questions, if you're a college student, I honestly believe that college is one of the most important times in your life. You're learning more than ever. You're discovering more than ever. And you know what? You're meeting more people now in college than you will probably ever meet again. Once you leave a university system, and I suggest everybody go to the biggest school they can go to. I know some people want like a small little college experience, but if you're somebody, especially if you're a sister, if you're a black woman, then you need to go to the biggest school you can go to university. You are going to meet more people during that university time than you will ever meet again in your life. And I know, sister, that you will think you're going there just to get your degree. And you know what, girl? Get your degree. I feel you. Get your PhD, get your master's. But if you can leave there with your master's and a man, woo, you just doubled up. You did even better. If you can leave there with your PhD and your poppy, ooh, girl, you just took it to another level. If you can leave there with your bachelor's and your boy, woo, you just took it to a whole nother level. It's easier to get your master's than it is to find a good man. So if you find a good man, you don't want to miss out on that. And so college is an important time. You're never going to meet this many people ever again. Once you leave college, you're going to be in school. Once you're done school, now you're at a job. You're going to meet the same people all the time. Church, I mean, if you go to a large church, but still, you start running around with the same people, unless you're going to do something online. And if you were going to do a profile online, which no doubt about it, I'm not against it, but if you're going to do online profiles, Match.com, FarmersOnly.com, ILikeBiscuits.com, come ride with me on my bicycle.com. If you're going to join any of those things, then you might as well be open at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, saying, hey, I met a great guy. Don't not go out. Especially if I was a black woman, and I'm not, but I would not turn down a great guy for my degree. You can always get your degree. A good man is hard to find. A good black man, even harder to find. Good man is hard to find. Good black man, even harder to find. And a good man, really, really tough for you to find that. And especially a good man who wants to be with you and wants to be committed and looking for marriage. It's amazing to me how many women that I've known that have turned down the possibility of a marital relationship for their degree. And it's amazing to me. And I get it, understanding the statistics of it. I totally understand it. But I think that you got to believe enough about yourself and about future and your destiny. And as someone that's fighting for marriage, in America, period, and fighting for family in America, period, I gotta say, listen, if the right guy comes along, you gotta be like Barry Bonds and swing that bat and go for your hit. And so if you're a college student and you're thinking, oh, wow, is it for me? Most definitely it's for you. And because we're gonna be talking about what it means to be in a relationship, what you really are looking for long term. We're going to be breaking down what's the real point of dating and really laying it out. So all the college students, all my Central people, Duke, Carolina State, everyone in the area, please listen, the event is free. And so it don't cost you broke people nothing. And so you will be able to come and be a part of it, have a great time. It's going to be wonderful. It's happening in September. We want you to know about that. Okay, with that in mind, the rest of our remaining 45 minutes is going to be kind of talking and answering questions around relationship stuff. Let's jump right into it. Let's get down to it. Here we go.
So the first question, where do you think millennials are missing it when it comes to relationships?
Where do I think millennials are missing it when it comes to relationships? I mean, I think that a part of it initially, it's not even your fault, unfortunately. But millennials have been born into a time of divorce and a time of dysfunction in the family. It's just kind of what has actually happened. It's very interesting what happens generationally. My generation, the Xers, we were the first generation where it was really legal to kill us, okay? Abortion was passed on us. We're the generation where we weren't enough for our mothers. Our mothers wanted to go to work. We were called latchkey kids, okay? Our moms went to work. We came home and let ourselves in the house. You know, really in our generation, women really started working, really entered the workforce en masse for real. Some of it was based on war, but still, it was a significant factor with it. So for my generation, the way we trust the next generation and just kind of how we see relationships, and that has just rolled into our children, rolled into millennials at a whole nother level. So many millennials, so many of the people that are in that generation, what kind of real father have they had? The real dysfunction of the family has hit them hard. And so there's that aspect of it. I think that just the very picture of it. I was having a conversation with a really great young man. He came up to me after service, one of these services here at World Overcomers. And here in RTP, we have a 9 and 11:30. I think it was after the 11:30 service. And he came up to me afterwards. We really have been talking about Canaan in here and really talking about Canaan being about, Canaan's our theme for the year, and really Canaan being about not just spiritual stuff, but about actually building wealth. And this young man came up to me afterwards and was just talking to me about just kind of the chaos of his life. And it's so interesting that it's so easy to track the chaos. Gentlemen, it's so easy to track the chaos in our lives directly to our body parts, directly to our sexual organs. I don't want to get graphic, but it's just so easy to connect chaos to that part of our lives. And when he was saying to me, I just feel like I'm trapped and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I said to him that the beginning of success very often is a pattern. And it's who are we following after? Who are our role models? Who are saying to us, hey, this is how you should live? So I think that's a significant thing that's missing from millennials. I don't think they have enough role models, enough patterns. I think a lot of the people that they're looking at, I think it's one of the reasons why LaShawn and I have inspired people because we've been married for a long time and we love each other and we like each other. And so I think a lot of millennials are like, wow, a couple that really is into one another. And I think that it's a part of our job. We're trying as best we can to keep it together. And marriage is not an easy thing, but I think the pattern is missing. I think another thing that's missing with the millennials is that for every generation, you have to be careful that your strength doesn't become a weakness. One of the things about the millennials that's a strength is that they're just very open-minded, they're very tolerant, and so they're less likely to exclude people based on a factor. And when you're like that, it's just difficult to have any lines. It's almost like if you don't have any lines of judgment, then you don't have any lines really of morality. And it's just everything's just wide open. And so everything becomes judgy. And so if I say, well, don't have sex before you're married, then I'm looked at as judgy. And so it's a very free, it's a very independent generation. And very free thinking, very relational, very connective, not very trusting of institution. And so marriage and family is a bit of an institution. And to really be effective at marriage and family, you have to be open to listening to somebody else. There's some wisdom that you're going to receive that may not be just what you know. Millennials just think, oh, well, we all have an opinion. We're all right. We all can think what we think. And you might see it that way, and I might see it this way. But when it comes to marriage and family and relationships, there is the importance of someone giving us a definition. Part of what we try to do in the seminars is try to give a definition. It's even more difficult to agree if you're trying to agree from two different places, okay? And I'm just kind of looking at what I have under here. If you got Chuck E. Cheese, we'll just have him represent the guy, okay? Chuck E. Cheese, and then we'll have this Lysol bottle, okay, this is basically the difference between a man and a woman. This is going to be pretty cool. A dude is basically a rat. No, that's not. That's a guy is a guy. We'll just let Chuck E. Cheese. A guy is a guy sees there's an animal side of him. A woman, it's just not going to work. Anyway, the Chuck E. Cheese and this, they're very, very different. They have different functions, different perspectives. That's how it is with men and women. It's going to be very difficult for these two to agree. But if we put something in the center that they can agree about, that's defined, it may be easier for the two of them to come here than to come all the way here or come all the way here. And in a sense, millennials don't really trust that. It's like, well, this is my idea of marriage. Well, this is my idea of marriage. There's got to be someone that defines it for us in the middle. And that's another challenge that millennials are dealing with when it comes to relationships. And so I think that all of these things are things that we're trying to address and stuff that we're trying to do. And thank you, Chucky. I don't know what you're doing under here, but we'll bring you back in case I need you. And all of these things are things that we're trying to do in this Real Love Relationship Seminar. And I think that the church has failed significantly. I think the church sided so much on the super spiritual Holy Ghost fire, family that prays together, that now the world, and particularly the millennial generation, just doesn't even want to listen to the church when it comes to relationships. And when we start to talk about relationships, it's almost like we're talking about eating meat sacrificed to idols or shellfish or something like that. The enemy has just maneuvered us so that we are just completely, totally irrelevant when it comes to the relationship discussion. And we weren't able to talk about relationships based on truth. We were only able to talk about it just based on our spiritual perspective, and we missed the real balance of it, that Sabbath was made for man, not man for Sabbath. I think all of these things are factors. But I believe that millennials could do relationships. I think that they'll be able to do relationships better than almost anyone because they're so relational. One of the things that happened to Xers is that we're just a very isolated, we're not the most people person. Anyone that works for me, anyone that comes close to me will know that to really, really know me is a challenging thing. And I just, I have personal relationships, but I don't have a lot of them. And Xers are just kind of that way. We're not super trusting. What do you expect from a generation that grew up where half of us were killed? There's only 50 million of us. And so 75 million boomers, 79, 80 million millennials, less than 50 million Xers. So I think that millennials, because you're such a large generation and because there's so many of you, it just heightens the chance of an African-American woman in particular finding somebody, and you're such a relational generation. I really think you can do it well. You just need some secrets. Woo, that was long.
Next question. Statistics show that in the U.S., 50% of marriages, 67% of second marriages end in divorce. What do you think about those percentages being so high, and can second marriages survive?
I think a part of the reason why the first marriage number is so high, if you really look at the individual truth of those stats, is that most of the first marriages that end in divorce are people who got married under the age of 25 and divorced under the age of 25. One of the reasons why the divorce numbers are a little bit down is because the marriage numbers are a little bit down. And the marriage numbers are down because the millennials aren't necessarily getting married so quickly. There was a time when young people, I fell in love, or high school sweethearts, a lot of those people got married and then didn't even make it 5 years. And so I think that, the idea that first marriages end in divorce and that percentage being as high as it is, I think that it's directly linked to age. And when you look at the statistics, statistically, you're more likely to stay married if you wait past the age of 25. Your percentages of getting divorced if you didn't get married until after you were 25 is significantly lower than 50%. I think that, again, one of the reasons why second marriages end in divorce is, and at such a high rate, is for several reasons. First of all, people have a pattern, and it's difficult to break your pattern. And if you got married the first time under the age of 25 and ended up getting divorced, you may not have even really learned what was really wrong. You're so blaming it on your youth that you're not necessarily focusing on the fact that maybe the type that you like is not compatible with you. You think that you're compatible with someone that's very creative. You think you're compatible with someone that's really an introvert. You don't understand that what you like. I think one of the most challenging things about love and marriage and relationships is that people are attracted to the wrong people. People are attracted to the people that's the last people they should be with. I know everybody's watching me. You can think that all of us have people that we know, that we love, that they just pick bad. They just don't know how to choose someone. And they have a tendency to choose someone that's very similar to the person that they're divorced from. That person has very similar qualities. And so people, it's because we have things that we like, and sometimes we like things that aren't good for us. It's just a factor in humanity. We all like stuff that's not good for us. And it's possible for you to like a type of guy that's really not good for you, for you to like a type of woman that's really not good for you. And so I think second marriages end in divorce because, like the Bible says, that as a dog returns to his vomit, so a fool returns to his folly. A lot of us end up foolish, and we end up right back in relationship with somebody that's very similar to the person that we separated from. We didn't really learn our lesson. We didn't really get any wisdom or any counsel to say, okay, hey, let's really examine. I think a lot of people, particularly men, rebound, marry, and which is just insanely crazy. And because if you married and got divorced, if you come to my seminar, gentlemen, I want you to know I really am inviting men to come to it. Half my church is men anyway, but I definitely want men to come. And because honestly, at the end of the day, if your relationship doesn't work, it really is your fault. I was counseling a couple recently, and I said to the guy, it's your fault. If either she was always a B, God help us, I don't want to say it on live. She was either always this horrible, loudmouth, ratchet, angry, cussing you out person. She was either, I said, how long were you in a relationship? How long were you guys in a relationship before you got married? He said 2 years. I said, okay, so she was either that way the whole time and she fooled you, okay, or this is who you made her to be. As a result of being in a relationship with you, you've turned her angry. You've turned her bitter. You've turned her mad. Still your fault. So you got to get down to the bottom of it. Well, she was always this way. Okay, well, then you were a fool and you got tricked. And so now, if that was what happened to you, then now that you're divorced, you really need to take a step back. You need to seek counsel. You need to figure out what is going on with you. What is it that made you pick somebody that you ended up not being able to stand? What is it that made you pick someone that now you want to choke? You need to reevaluate what you actually desire and talk about what you really think is attractive. Both people need to do that. And I think men and women need to do that. And I think that one of the things that scares me a little bit, and I'm running out of time, but it's that women are being forced even more to be like men. And so that women are putting an even greater emphasis on things that are external instead of internal, just like men do. And that is a mistake. One of the strengths of women is that you can see deeper than just what's on the outside. Guys can be so blown away by the outside that they end up with someone that has no inner qualities, okay? Women always were stronger than that, okay? They were always able to see past the exterior and see the interior of a guy and see the strength of someone past their flesh. And now there's all this pressure to make women superficial like men. Ladies, don't do that. You can be equal and not have our weaknesses. And so I think that that's another significant factor. I also think that once you've gotten divorced, it just makes it easier for you to get divorced again. It's more palatable to you. And so a certain section of this seminar is going to be on divorce. And I think it's an important time. If someone's been divorced, and one of my brothers is divorced, I'm sure everybody knows that. And he's been really divorced and separated now from his from his first wife for almost 5 years. He's really taken some time. And I counseled him, really take your time, really slow your roll, really heal up, and really forgive all of your anger towards that chick that you was married to. Heal up over your ex-husband, heal up over your ex-wife, so that you're not always comparing. As he would be dating, it's almost like if you're always comparing. For everyone that I talk to that's divorced, they're always comparing. As long as you're still comparing every new person to your last person, that means you're still hung up on that person. You got to forgive, you got to move on. These are all factors in why marriage is tough to do. Marriage is hard to do anyway. And the very fact that half of marriages are ending in divorce, 64, 65, 67% of second marriages, it just shows all the more how difficult it is to do, but how valuable it is, and how strong you are if you can really do it well. Yeah. Air conditioning, we need it. It's hot in here.
All right. Do men have a fear of commitment, and do you think that's why they aren't marrying?
I don't think that men have a fear of commitment as much as men have a fear of change. I think a guy gets with a woman because he likes what he has right now. And I think that guys are deathly afraid that if I get with this woman, she's going to change on me. Like, she's going to be like, okay, gotcha. And now she's going to start eating food. She was going to the gym. Now she ain't going to the gym no more. She was doing her hair. Now she ain't going to do her hair no more. And it's why I say to women, if you get married, I say this to all the women, especially the black women, you get married, and then within 2, 3, 4, 5 years of being married, you just let yourself go, you are hurting all the other sisters. You are letting your whole gender down by just letting yourself go, because now every guy is going to point and be like, see, remember how cute she was? Look at her now. I think that guys are afraid that if I commit to you, then you're going to stop trying to keep me. And that what it took to get me is what it takes to keep me. But if I marry you and now you have a legal contract, there are people that argue that marriage, quite honestly, it benefits women more than it benefits men today. That it's a legal contract. Now I got you. Now I can take half your stuff. Now you're trapped. Now you can't go nowhere. And I think that guys think about that with fear that you're not going to be what you've shown me up until this point. And I think men are more afraid of that. And I think that there is some evidence to that. And I also think that in the very nature of the relationship, the differences in how men and women are, it's just kind of a part of the way that we really are as different as Lysol and Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, I think that a guy, in a sense, a woman is looking for a certain amount of stability and a certain amount of consistency. And she does want to feel like you love her for her. And so she's not going to look like a supermodel every second. And you do have to realize that. She's not going to always look amazing. And she wants to believe, yeah, you love me for my inside, right? Not just my outside. And a good guy is going to do that. And so there is a bit of it that says, right, so I'm going to relax a little bit, and I'm going to eat a donut every now and then, and I'm going to relax. And I think guys do see that naturally in the nature, and I think that women by nature want to be valued for who they are internally, and I certainly understand that and can really relate to that. And I'm not going to go into how I can relate to it, but I can. I get it. I totally get it. And that you don't want to just be judged just based on your outside qualities. And so you want a certain amount of consistency, and it's very challenging being in a relationship with a guy that wants consistency and inconsistency. It's like, I want you, but I also want variety. And so, and when I say I want variety, it means, okay, if I'm going to commit to just you, then you need to be careful not to get too comfortable and too much of a rut where you wear the same robe every day and you wear the same scarf every day and you wear the same nightgown every day. And I done seen that nightgown 80 times over the last 5 years, and you're going to come out the bathroom like, ta-da, and I'm just like, I just saw that last night. And so that there is a drive for variety, and of course the woman is like, but don't you love the woman that's underneath this robe? Sure, I love the woman that's underneath the robe, but you've been wearing that robe every day for 5 years, and it's dirty, and I know it's warm, and it's comfortable, but you also have to understand, I'm a guy, I'm visual, I'm moved by what I see, and so I want to see something a little different. Put your hair up, put it to the side, talk like you're Puerto Rican, papi, do something, be different. Go down to the Hollywood store and put on a magic carpet, put on a Princess Jasmine. I know it's gonna be a size 16, but still, put a spell on me and make me think that something different's happening in here. This is just a part of the differences between men and women. And I think that these are the things that make guys uncomfortable about commitment and uncomfortable, at least when they're younger. As you get older as a guy, you start to see the long-term benefits. But there are men who are living with women, because living with a woman is a wonderful thing. And so I think as you get older, especially as a guy, as you get older, and the physical is important, but it's not as important to you as it was when you was 27. I think what's important with this truth that I'm kicking, and I know that there's some people that ain't happy about this truth I'm kicking, but this is my show. And so the thing to do with this truth I'm kicking, ladies who's watching me right now, is use this to your advantage, use this to your benefit, and understand you just want to be the best that you can be. I'm not trying to get you to compare yourself to anybody. Compare yourself to your best self, okay? Have a picture of you at your best self, okay? If you look really good in high school, put that picture on your mirror and compare yourself to that, okay? If you look really good in college, put yourself on your mirror, compare yourself to that, and strive to be the best you can be for yourself, for your own sense of self-worth, for feeling good about yourself. Don't doom a man into a relationship with someone who he don't want to show off. God help us, Holy Ghost. That if your man don't never take you nowhere, maybe it's because he don't want to be seen with you. I think that that's an important thing to think about as a woman. And I know it's not the only way you should be judged. You want to be valued for more than just that. But it's certainly something to think about. Men are visual, and understanding that we're visual, and instead of just being like, well, why are y'all visual? Understanding we're visual and using that to your advantage. It doesn't mean you got to be a hoe. But to use that to your advantage does benefit you greatly, and it may help men. Right now, it's such and I know even when I start talking like this, and I'm talking like this because it's the truth, but when I talk about this, there's a little voice in the back of my head that's saying, shut up, stop talking, because I know we live in a Me Too world and a power to the women world, and most definitely, I'm excited about women being empowered. I'm excited about the women that are running for president. That's great. That's wonderful. It's awesome. And they're really intelligent, articulate, very worthy, maybe qualified, way better than the dude we got in there now. So there's a whole lot of women that are qualified. And so women want to not necessarily be judged or not necessarily just be compartmentalized into just being this way. I was reading an article about some semi-celebrity couple or whatever, where the woman was basically, I don't remember who it was, but where the woman was basically saying, hey, you know what, if you're home and, you know, you're taking care of the kids and your husband's on his way home, you know he's coming home, hey, freshen up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe put a little makeup on her or just try to look nice. If you're trying to keep your marriage, try to look nice when he's coming home. I know you've been home with the kids all day and that's a lot of work, but try. Don't let him come home every day to you just a mess. And there were some people that were like, yes. And then there were some people that castigated, were also really mad at her and felt like this is not the 1920s. And if I want to look stank and nasty every day, then I'm going to look stank and nasty. And if I want to have a beard and sideburns and I want to cut all my hair off, you got to love me for me. That's a nice idea, but that is a fairy tale. That's not what's in the real world. And as we just finished reading the stat a few minutes ago, we are failing at relationships. And so just understand, men are visual, and I will look past your beard and your mustache if really bad things have gone down. Your mom died, you're in a tough place, and you just don't feel like shaving. Baby, I get it, but after you've moved past your grief, and once the funeral's over, then can you just get your lady shaver and just clean it up? If it's acceptable for me to shave mine, it's acceptable for you to shave yours. And just be the best that you can be. And I think that will be a part of men being okay about commitment. One of the things that I say in the seminars and the stuff that I do, and I'm going to say it right now, is I say that every woman has 5 levels: fine, pretty, cute, all right, and busted. Okay, every woman can look as fine as she can look. About to go meet the president, fine. Pretty, like, okay, you look pretty today. Cute, like, okay, you're cute. You got on a sweatsuit, but you put your hair in a ponytail, so you look cute. All right, which is like, I mean, you look all right. I mean, I might still sleep with you, but I mean, I'm not taking you nowhere. And then busted. And if you have a man, you need to ask your man, when he sees you most of the time, what are you to him? On the average, what are you? And if he says, on the average, you look all right, then that's saying something to you about your relationship. And you're a woman and you're totally horrified by that, and you are totally offended by that truth, then we will continue to not have marriages that work, and men will continue to not want to commit to you, particularly African-American women who black men don't want to commit to you anymore. And they're just going with all kinds of mixy, Spanishy, Armenian-y. It's just where we are. And so I remember a time when sisters was just bad, just eating right and working out and had their own hair and just was doing it. And this lace front thing is out of control right now. It's just ridiculous. I understand if you 72 and you gotta wear a lace front, I feel you. But you 26 years old and you can't take care of your hair, you're lazy. And so I think all of these things are a part of what is making men, particularly men of color, but men, uncomfortable about commitment. I think it's unfair to just say we have a fear of commitment. We do have a fear of commitment. We have a fear of commitment to something that isn't what we really like. Yeah, if I really like what I got right now, and I'm like, any dude who's like, this girl is fine, this girl is nice to me, this girl is work, this girl make money, this girl is smart, this girl is this girl is a 7, this girl got the whole package, that dude is looking for a ring. He's trying to lock that down. And so if you've been with a guy for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and he's not trying to marry you, it's because there's something about you he don't like. He likes the sex, but there's something about you he don't like. And he's hoping that will change. And he's scared to marry you before that changes. He's scared he'll lock you in just like this. Now, he'll live with you till something better comes along, but if something really better comes rolling through, you in trouble. And so men marry because they like what they have right now. Women are different, y'all are deeper. Woo! I'm all over the place today. Okay, way over time. All right. On a rant, my bad. Chucky, you just stay up here with me. Just help me out.
Social media has changed relationships so much. Are there pros to building a relationship from a DM? How do we know this person is genuine? Any tips?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I was not raised in the day of the cell phone. In my day, it was beepers was the first thing that came out. I remember payphones on the corner, okay? So I wasn't raised during this time. I'm going to tell you the truth. It would have just been a really wonderful thing. And my girl's really cool. And I just think to myself how much easier it would have been to meet someone if I could have sent her a message on Instagram. If I could find you on Instagram and just send you something and just be like, hey, what's up? Then you get a chance to go look at my pictures and see who I am. And to me, it would make it even easier. I don't have to deal with rejection as much. As a guy, if that's something that, if I had that as a device. I think when it comes to being tricked, when it comes to being fooled, let's just say this, you haven't really been tricked if you ain't slept with nobody. You haven't really been tricked if you kept your legs closed. Dude, you haven't really been tricked if you kept your pants on. That if you have a standard about yourself, then how you meet someone isn't really all that relevant. Now, if you're on Match or any of the social media or any of the website platforms to meet someone, believe me, if you're a woman and you're any kind of relatively attractive, dudes are going to be trying to hit it. I mean, they're just on there just for that. So, yeah, you're going to meet a bunch of guys like that. Most definitely. There may be some sites where you meet some women that are like that. I don't believe that there's many of them, but sure, that they're just interested in a physical encounter. Sure. But how is that any different than meeting somebody at a club or meeting somebody at a bar or meeting somebody at church? God help us. Meeting somebody at church. It's absolutely possible for you to meet somebody in church that's just trying to hit it. Everybody in church ain't saved. And so it's absolutely possible for you to meet somebody at your job. They're trying to hit it on the first date, on the second date, on the third date. They're trying to get you to come over and get some of this thing. If you have a standard, then that standard will help to keep you safe, and you ought to be able to weed out some of the guys that you know ain't about nothing but just a couple of minutes. And so I don't necessarily think social media is a negative factor in that. I think it makes it even easier for men to prey on women. I think it's made it easier, but I also think that it's made it easier to meet someone as well. And I think that you can't take, I don't want to say you can't take one without the other, because I would love it if men just weren't out there praying and trying to get, not praying, but I wish they were praying, but just out here trying to see what they can snatch up. And I think, what is it, Tinder or whatever has made it even easier. If you just want something, you can get something, sure. But I think that that's unfortunate. And I think that is, when you asked the question earlier, if you've been watching the whole show, if you're not, you missed it. We asked the question earlier, are men afraid of commitment? I don't think it's just that men aren't afraid of commitment. I think that we live in a world and a time where men don't necessarily need commitment to get sex. There was a time when commitment was the way to get it the most. I haven't even looked at the stats lately. I'd have to look it up. I haven't researched this. But I remember there was a time when I studied it where married men had sex more than single men. They just did. You greatly increased your chances of having a physical encounter if you were married than if you were a single man. I wonder now if social media has impacted that, and if single guys are having sex as often as married men are. I want to say still no. And I think when we talk about married men, I think we have to talk about all men that are in a committed relationship. If you're in a committed relationship, you're living with a woman, you're basically married. So we'll just put you over here. I'm talking about dudes that are single. I don't know if a guy that's single, if you're a guy and you're single and you don't have a committed, you're not in a committed relationship, and you're having sex 4 to 5 times a week, you are a hoe. Oh my God. You are a hoe. That is 365 days in a year, and you're having sex 75% of that's a lot of partners. If you sleep with one woman a week, that's 50 women a year. In 5 years, that's 250 women. That's a lot of different women. You really gonna mess your soul up doing that. And you still won't have had sex more than me, and I'm old. So, I think that there was a time when a committed relationship, and I want to say it, I'm gonna say it. I still think that a committed relationship is still the best way to have sex is more often than not. And for men, that's something that's important. And so I think all these things are factors. I think there was a time when if you were a man and you were going to get any kind of sex, it was either from a chick you was with, a wife, a girlfriend. There were women who just weren't sleeping with you unless you was at least committed, okay? And in my day, oral sex was like in y'all's generation, virgins are doing oral sex. It's like you could suck it all you want and still be a virgin. It's just insane to me. Whereas in my day, in the extra world, oral sex was like the next thing. If you listen to them women, like if you listen to women like my wife and her friends, it was like I might do that for my husband, but they weren't going down on some strange, it wasn't like, well, I'm a virgin, but let me put my mouth on the part of you I hope you washed. I mean, it just wasn't something that just women did. It's amazing to me how these young girls were just sucking it on the bus and sucking it in the parking lot and sucking it in the back of the park and sucking it in after a cookout. Oh, we got me a shake, so I just figure, it's all cream to me. It's just amazing to me that it's just so, the standards that women have these days, it's incredible to me. God knows. Praise the Lord for the oral, hallelujah. But I'm just saying there's got to be some standards. And I think this is a factor in why guys don't commit. And why buy the cow when I can get the milk for free, God? People have been saying it forever. And are we really saying, is this a cow? No, it's not a cow. But why pay, let's say that, why pay to get in the park if I can get all the rides for free? Why would you pay for Carowinds if you can get in for free? Why would you pay for the state fair if you can get in for free? And to me, a good woman is like the state fair, okay? When you go to the state fair, there's food at the state fair. Good God, hallelujah. There's information at the state fair. You can learn stuff at the state fair. You can sit down at the state fair and learn about solar power, okay? There's intelligence to be found at the state fair. You can learn about pans. You can learn about how they used to make popcorn in the Old West. There's information at the state fair. And then there's rides at the state fair. Different kinds of rides. There's merry-go-rounds. There's stuff real high. There's bumper cars. Are the bumper cars open? Okay. Why would I pay to get in the state fair if you're going to let me in for free? So I think women have to have a standard. Women have to be like, you have to be this tall to ride my ride. And that's going to take some kind of commitment. And I rebuke this determination to make women easy. To me, it is a demonic, man-led idea. Even the women that sang the most back in the day, now, I don't know about City Girls and Cardi B and them, but back in the day, when the women were saying, I'll be a freak until the day, until the dawn, most of those songs were written by men. Men want women to say that. It's all yours if you want it tonight. Take off my clothes and turn on the red light. I'd be willing to bet you a guy wrote that song. TLC sang it, but this is what men want women to say. But I think women are better than that. I think women should be better than that. I think women should have a standard. I think that women should be solid and strong. One of the reasons why we're having such a challenge in the world today is because women have lost their standards. Got to get it back.
So is courtship asking too much of a potential significant other in this generation?
Courtship. I mean, I think courtship is in the eye of the beholder. I think this is another challenge when it comes to long-term commitment. All of these things that are things that we're going to address in this seminar and really get down and really break it down and really talk about the real of it and the nitty and the gritty of it. And as you can see, I'm not your average pastor that talks about this kind of stuff, which is probably one of the reasons why, I talk about it as much as I do and I'm sought after to talk about it. Because I think that, I don't want to say we're lazy when it comes to courtship, but we're lazy. We're lazy. We just want to hook up at each other's houses and at each other's apartments and order a pizza and watch a movie. Okay? There's too much Netflix. There's too much Hulu. There's just too much stuff to do at the house. There was a time when it was like, why would I have you at my house? First of all, I live with my mother. Okay. Number two, okay, there's nothing at the house there, internet there. There's only TV. In my day, there was only 6 channels, 7 channels, 8 channels. Where we going to sit there and watch TV? Then VHS tapes came out. Now we can go to Blockbuster Video and rent a video. Now, why would I take you out? Why would I court you? I'll just have you come to the house. It just makes it even easier for me to just get it, for me to just tap it, because we're already there and we're on the couch. Whereas courtship was more, okay, I'm going to come pick you up, or you meet me somewhere, we sit down, we talk, we share, we have a good conversation, and then at the end of the night, we say goodnight. Because there was a time limit to it. When you have somebody at your house, there's no time limit. What you going to say, okay, been 2 hours, time for you to go, get up, get out my house. You're not going to necessarily say that. And if you're a guy trying to get a chick to come over, listen, ladies, if a guy invites you to his house, he is trying to have sex with you. That is a fact jacked. He wants to get to know you. He can get to know you at Starbucks. He can get to know you at P.F. Chang's. He can get to know you at Cracker Barrel. Shout out to Cracker Barrel. I'm looking for all kinds of sponsorship. He can get to know you at Wendy's parking lot. He can get to know you walking through BJ's, one of my favorite stores. Just walk through and have a conversation. If he's trying to get you to come to his house, he is thinking, ooh, I'm going to get it. There's no reason to go to anybody's house except to get it. If she invites you to her house, sweetheart, if you invite a guy to your house, he's thinking, oh, shoot, I'm getting this. You're inviting me in your home? You want to cook me a meal? That means that after this napkin drops, them panties going to drop. That's what the guy's thinking. There's just way too much of this in the house, in the apartment. Oh, come over. We just lazy with it. And the challenge of it is we get physically connected before we're emotionally relatable. We don't even know if we like each other really. We don't even really know if we're compatible. And it is possible, God knows I know it, it is possible for the sex to be so good that you are ignoring the other things that are bad about the relationship. And that's the challenge of sex. Sex is a glue. It's great, but it's a glue. God made it to be a glue. God made it to be a glue. He made it to be good. God could have made it that it wasn't good. God could have made it that it was just like peeing, like taking a pee. I mean, taking a pee feels okay if you've been holding it. He could have made it like that, but that's not, he made it to be good. God called it good. God created it. The devil didn't create it. God created it. So you have to be careful that it's not so good that it keeps you. This is a truth and a wisdom and a lesson in life. You have to be careful that the money's so good. Oh, they're offering you so much money, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happy at that company. Oh, they're offering you so much money, but are you going to win there? Right now, there's an NBA player who's like, he kind of verbally committed to one franchise, and now it's like he's kind of thinking about reneging because this other franchise is offering her more money. But that other franchise isn't as much of a winner as the first franchise. is more money more important? We all have to be careful of those things. And I know that I am just talking craziness to this world I know I'm talking crazy. I know I am, because everybody's thinking. There are women who are like, I'm not marrying nobody if we ain't slept together. There are women who say that, not just men, women who are like, what do you mean? I got to know that he can put this puzzle together, I understand it. And so I know I'm talking nuts right now. I am talking stars. I'm just saying, ladies, that you want to be chaste so you can make a right choice. And guys, you want to be chaste so you can make a right choice. And isn't it interesting that we have more sex than ever, more promiscuity than ever, more physical interaction with one another than ever, and our stats are the worst that they've been forever. So maybe, can he tap this thing right? Maybe that ain't the first thing to think about, because honestly, if you know yourself and you have a good communicative relationship with him, you can tell him how to tap that thing right. Every woman is like a combination lock. Women aren't all the same. Every dude has to come to the thing. Every guy, you can't come to the thinking, I'm gonna put your leg up here, and I'm gonna put this leg over here, and I'm gonna, That's no guarantee that you're gonna make her. She got to tell you, okay, it really feels good when my leg is pointing to the right. Now we're cooking with gas. And if you're not ready to hear that, and if you're not ready to share that, you're not gonna have a good sexual encounter with each other. Let's stop acting like it's all just about the physical. It's the communication, it's the sharing, it's the talking. It's how well we relate to each other. And you know why a lot of these couples are breaking up? Is because the sex can be good, but if I don't like you, I don't want to sleep with you. Sex ain't good enough if I stop liking you. I don't remember what the original question was, but all these things are factors. Was it the social media? Was that what I asked answering, or whatever it was? It doesn't matter. My point is that we have to be very, very careful. Let's just be honest. More porn, more sex, more promiscuity, more nudity, more than ever. And we are failing at long-term relationships, which is really a part of what should be the goal. I need to be with somebody who will really take care of me when I'm 64. When I was younger, the Beatles had a song, when I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? It's the stuff that's in my head. If I hang out till 2:45, will you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? When I'm 64, 64 ain't even old. When I'm 64, will you still be here? To me, that's the goal. And right now, your youth and all of your energy and all of this should be about building memories. So you could be like, woo, girl, remember when we was 27 and we used to, girl, remember when we was 32 and we actually would have encounters that lasted 40 minutes. Woo! What was that? That was 14. Woo! 14. We are doing something today. We made it 14 minutes. To remember that fondly as a part of your history together, that's powerful. And I'm going to hold on to the dream. It's what I've got. It's what I got. I can remember. I used to listen, 60-minute man. I remember being 60-minute man. Now, woo! Me and that girl, we'll be together real hard for 16 minutes. Woo! We are feeling ourselves. We'll be like, woo! Girl, that was something. She'll be like, I tell you what. I'm like, you want me to drink some Gatorade? She's like, no, I do not. Let's go to sleep. This is what happens when you've been together for a while. This is what you want. Long-term relationship where you grow old together and still committed to each other. Sure, neither one of us looks like we used to look. I used to have way more hair than this. But somehow life has robbed me of my hair. But I don't even have the strength. I can't hold my arm straight for 60 minutes no more. But I got somebody who's still with me through that. And vice versa. I don't even want to tell you. When I married that girl, woo, Jesus, God help us. And now, life and these kids, man, just wrecked my wife. Just wrecked her. Just killed her. These boys, they lucky I buy them anything. What they did to my poor wife, you know. And I still see that person I was with, you know, when we first got together in our 20s. This is, to me, what it's about. It's about love that lasts. It's not just about short term. It's about long term. I think this is something that's important for everybody to think about. It's wisdom. I was just having a conversation with someone who was telling me about this couple that just got married, okay? Black couple, okay? I know everybody that watches the show ain't black, but black couple, okay? I'm black, so black people. I'm mostly black, kind of black. I need to do that DNA thing. I need to do that. I need to figure out the Ancestry.com thing. I need to figure that out. I probably am nowhere near as black as any of the people that work for me. But anyway, here's the thing. This couple, they got married, okay? They spent $80,000 on their wedding. Listen, me and Chucky are saying $80,000 is insane. Black people, that's nuts. Right, Chucky? Yes, it's insane for you to spend $80,000 on a wedding. You're nuts. You're crazy. You're crazy. Especially when the median income, the median wealth of the black family in America is $7,000. $111,000 for white households. You could have had a nice, decent wedding for $20,000 and put $60,000 on a house or $60,000 on your debt. Oh my God! You could have put $30,000 down on a house and another $30,000 down on a business that you had, and have a little $20,000 wedding. That'll be okay. For you to spend $80,000 on one day is insane. All of you sisters that are watching, I want to be a princess. You are high, okay? Think it over. Unless you got some rich daddy, and if you got a rich daddy that is willing to spend $80,000 on your wedding, if you're smart, you will say, hey, daddy, let's make a pact. You give me $65,000 and I'll have a $15,000 wedding. I'll take the cash every time. For one day? Are you out of your mind? Are you really gonna spend $80,000 on one day? That's nuts. For a relationship that statistically may not even last. It's insane. For all of the women that are my sisters, my daughters, hear me. That's insane thinking. It's not wisdom. It's not wise at all. I don't know, but I want to have my day. I want everybody to look at me and everybody watch me walk down, and then we're going to dance in the middle, and I'm going to have my dress from Paris that costs $5,000. You are losing it. You've lost your mind. You ought to be able to have something that is nice, something that is, and if you really going to do something, you black, now listen, you white, Armenian, Japanese, you crazy rich Asians, you knock yourself out. If you's a black person, okay, even if your people have money, you don't need to be blowing it no $70,000, $80,000 on no wedding. We can't afford to do that as a people. This is why they don't want to give us reparations, because we just don't know what to do with our money. And $80,000. Shame on y'all. Shame on you for spending $80,000 on a wedding. Shame on anybody that's watching this, anybody you know that's planning a $60,000, $50,000, $60,000, even $30,000. It's a lot of money. It's just insane today for one day. You know what you can do with $30,000? That's a lot of money for a day, especially if y'all are broke. Now, you're an NFL player and she's big time in some sports or big time in lawyer or something like y'all got money coming and going. Hallelujah. But you broke people, last thing you need to be doing, spending $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $30,000, $40,000. I wouldn't spend $40,000 on a wedding. My daughter's wedding cost me I don't want to say what it cost me, but it didn't cost me no 80. It didn't cost me no 70. It didn't cost me no 60. It didn't cost me no 50. It didn't cost me no 40. Now I'm starting to say what it cost me, but it didn't cost me that much. And so my other daughter that's going to get married, listen, this is my last daughter. Sure, I'm going to give her a wang bang of a wedding, but I'm going to tell you right now, it ain't going to be no $70,000. It ain't going to be no $60,000. It ain't going to be no $50,000. It ain't going to be no $40,000. It might be 30 if Jesus comes back. But I'm going to sit down with her and say, baby, now I could do this, or how about this? How about I help you get a house? How about you ought to take that deal every time. For one day, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what got me off on that. But anyway, this has been the Third Degree. We're over time. It's been wonderful. I trust you, everybody, Instagram Live. Trust you had a good time today. Everybody that's on Facebook Live, hey, what's up? Listen, share this. Let somebody know. On Instagram Live, it's going to be up for the next 24 hours, right? Let somebody know. PA broke it down for real today. And glad you're with us today. Until next time, peace out.